What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Undrunken Podcast, where we explore what it really means to dump the drink. I'm Courtney, and today's episode is extra special. I am joined once again by the incredible Mama Mags, who first came on the show back in season 1. She was one of my first guests, and if you heard her episode then, you know she brings the truth, the grit, and the heart. In this conversation, we catch up on her journey with sobriety, and she shares some great tips for anyone in the early days of sobriety, like how to handle the cravings and creating new rituals to help your new choices stick. This episode's full of raw honesty and practical wisdom. So whether you're curious, just beginning, or recommitting, this check-in with Mama Mags will leave you feeling seen, supported, and inspired. Let's jump in.
Hello?
I'm the dingling.
Okay, I was like, everything's unmuted.
I'm the dingling. My computer was muted.
Oh, it's okay.
Oh,
dude.
So, Maggie, the first time we chatted was about 2 years ago. You were episode 9. So that would have been like July of 23.
Wow. I have a lot going on at that time. Oh boy.
Yeah. So you said you've listened to your episode. Of course, I totally appreciate and get it's hard to listen to yourself. Was there anything that stuck out to you?
Um, I feel like the way that I speak now is different. I was kind of fleeting, a little all over the place the last time we talked, and I've done a lot of work inside and out to feel better overall. And with that came a lot of confidence. And just listening to how I was talking, it was a little all over the place, and just kind of the cadence of how I spoke felt a little rushed. And I don't know. I think that's the biggest takeaway. And the material, it's like kind of, my story, I hope stays the same to some degree. But yeah, a lot of good things have happened since then. So
Well, let's talk about that. So let's briefly, for anyone who didn't listen to your first interview, but will after this, but briefly, let's share your story. But let's get to the good stuff quick. So
yeah.
bring us to a couple years ago, and then we'll dive more in.
Yeah, let's see here. Yeah, it's 2025, huh? Wow. Yeah, July of 23. My sweetie, Drew, and I were getting situated in our first apartment together. And I think I spoke to you right after we had moved in. And, leading up to that, my sobriety date is January 2nd, 2020. I moved in with my family during the pandemic. I started prioritizing fitness and health and wellness and martial arts and exploring all of that, getting into a committed relationship, sober for the first time, moving in with somebody who's sober for the first time. And 2023 kind of wrapped up on no extenuating or incredibly out of the ordinary notes. It was just kind of a wash, rinse, repeat, just kind of getting through it type of time. And 2024 for me was one of the most transformative years of my life. I set a lot of really big goals, and I accomplished all of them and more. I did a Muay Thai fight. I ran 2 10Ks, a Spartan race, a half marathon, did therapy for the first time, maintained my recovery to a certain extent, and made really big breakthroughs in my romantic relationship. So I think just the fruits of sobriety, as much as I thought that they had already showed up, they just kind of keep revealing themselves at different times.
Mm.
And I think that's what this last year was all about, was sticking through and pushing through and advocating and realizing that I don't have to just feel okay. Like I can feel great. I can feel good. I can reach higher, do better, seek more. Um, and that's kind of what it was about this last year.
Mm. So here we are, it's 2025. I already know it's off to a good start because I get to see you in like the best of places. Uh,
Mm.
what you said you listened to season two. Anything
Yeah,
that's
I listened to the first half of it. I was on my way home and I remember it was the day that I saw you recently and you're like, yeah, you should listen to that before we meet. And I listened to it on my way home, which is exactly 25 minutes. So that's as far in as I got. But I think it says a lot about people when they step away from what they do in order to prioritize their well-being. Um, for me, I've taken steps back from music in order to pour into myself and my romantic relationship, which is tough. We had a lot of changes happen within the band this last year, just people moving and building a new practice space. And from what I gathered in that episode, it was, you know, we all need time off, man.
Mhm.
That's just the reality of it. Like when you go and you go and you go, bad things happen. Like whether you decide to stop or your body tells you to, it's like it's inevitable. Um, so that's what I got from it, was like recognizing when you need to take a break from something can be hard when you're like a workaholic, you know?
It's well, I love that that's what was highlighted for you because I don't know that that's something I would have done had I been still drinking.
Oh my God, no way.
Right.
You wouldn't have this podcast. You know what
Well,
I mean?
that's true.
Yeah. Uh,
Yeah. Did you ever listen to any other episodes? I know you're
uh,
not like a huge podcaster, but
Selfishly, I listen to my brothers. But other than that, I've dabbled in a couple, but haven't finished any of the other ones.
yeah.
You know,
What was well, I mean, let's talk about that. Was that weird for you to have your brother on and then listen to his story from that kind of live interview perspective?
I feel like it was a tough time for all parties in some of those stories, and it felt good to hear him get honest with somebody. And I know he does that in meetings and stuff, and we all have our ways of getting honest, whether we like it or not. But it's definitely a fragile environment and like a very like vulnerable thing. And it's when you're keyed up and like things are happening and it's passionate, like it's tough to like censor yourself in any way.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was good to hear his story, and because him and I have been to meetings together and we've heard each other's story numerous times. And when you drank like us and disassociated like us, like not much really scares us anymore
Mm, yeah.
or like shocks us. Like hearing his story and what he's done, like there's not much he could tell me that would change how I feel about him. Probably nothing,
Mm.
um, because he's
Well,
the
you're
one that like he's the one that took me to my first meeting and like confided in his group, and they're like, yeah, well, when I was still drinking and he was sober, and he confided in his group about me, and they're just like, well, you have to just let her go until she can come back, or not. And when I got sober, he was the one that like really showed up for me. and I was able to reach out to him whenever I needed to. And we have a great relationship today. Like I was 6 months sober when I talked to my sponsor for the first time, and she asked me what I wanted, and a relationship with him was like second on the list. Um, so here we are. And now I see him multiple times a week, and I get to hang out with my nephew, and I'm important in their life, and that's a cool feeling.
That's beautiful. Like, again, probably something that wouldn't be in place with alcohol, right?
1,000%. I firmly believe if I didn't get sober when I did, I wouldn't have made it to 30, and I'm 33 now. So
How long
blessed.
has it been? Because you did just have your anniversary.
Yeah. So what is today? Today's January 12th. On the 2nd, I had 5 years
That's
with,
amazing.
with no mind altering substances whatsoever.
So kind of a cute little connection. You're the only set of siblings that I've interviewed. I've done a
Huh.
few couples,
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
but today is actually my baby brother's birthday.
Oh,
So
I love that. I love birthdays. Huh. Love birthdays.
yeah.
Awesome.
What is your favorite thing about your life now? Or let me clarify. What is your favorite thing about being, well, undrunken, right?
Um,
Because I know you're 100% sober. You're off of nicotine. That's new since your first interview.
yep. April 11th. It'll be 1 year free of nicotine. Yeah, I think each year I've gotten sober, I would have answered that question differently
Mm,
on like what my favorite thing. Like I feel like 1 year in, it would have been that I remember things and that I feel present. And I think what I cherish the most now is my ability to navigate emotions.
mm,
Because I could say like, oh, I have a nice place that I live, and I have a man that loves me, and I have a job that I love, and my boss takes care of me. Like I could list a million things, but the ability to stay connected to myself is indispensable because without that, I have none of those things. And I think all of last year was kind of turning inward and like getting it right fundamentally or working on it. Because, like, if I just was like, I need to make more money and I need more of this and I need more of this to be happy, it's like if I can't be okay on the inside with who I am, how I feel, what I think, um, I deal with intrusive thoughts and I feel like those will probably never go away. But like learning how to sidestep certain things and focus on living in the moment, like that's what I cherish the most.
mm.
Um, yeah, that's what I would say.
It's it's been really cool to know you through some of this
Mm,
because you said it when we first started talking. You are much more grounded. Like there's a calmness to you. And I know I've seen people who have quit nicotine. I know that's a got to be a big part of it too. Just not having that poison, right? Like, oh, and the stress and the anxiety and the addiction and yeah.
yeah, I think one of the phrases I say often to anybody who will listen is we all find freedom at different times. And when I was a week sober, I felt free. When I was 3 months sober, I was working at Safeway during a pandemic, like uprooted from where I lived, living with my parents. And I still felt free. Um, and I think the freedom I found with nicotine was like unmatched. Like, and it was scary that it put me in therapy because I didn't have anything. I didn't have a crutch anymore. I didn't have anything to change how I felt other than caffeine, which I'll probably be buried with a cup of coffee. Um, but yeah, it's yeah, finding that freedom has been really incredible. Yeah.
What is something you would say to somebody younger about alcohol?
Oh, oh man. I've seen people with no history of alcoholism in their family become alcoholics. And I would remind them that you don't need it to have fun. And that if you are with people that need it to have fun, you're probably with the wrong people.
Mm, I
Not
like
saying
that.
those people are bad, but if you want to make cool decisions and do cool stuff with your life, don't ingest poison. Like you wouldn't just go like drink bleach or like go do dumb shit. Like it's so funny when it comes to if I say that, I think I heard it actually on your podcast with your friend where it's like I've been in restaurants or like in the past at any time I might have I'll tell somebody that I don't drink. I'm like, oh sorry, I don't partake or whatever, and there's questions about it. It's like I have to like defend myself. Not so much anymore. Like I don't have anybody in my life that right now everybody in my life knows that I'm sober and knows it's a part of who I am, and I don't intend on making friends that disrespect that.
Do you think that's important? Do you think that helps?
I think it helps. I think the majority of people have everybody has a different relationship with everything. So it's not my place to demonize or say that certain things are people shouldn't do this or like I'm not the fun police. Like if you can go and like drink and have fun and like not let it ruin your life and put you in medical detox, like by all means, but I think if you are trying to stay sober, find sober friends. It's going
Yeah.
to be a lot easier.
Yeah. What are you are very intentional and you've been incredibly, I think, intentional this past year, especially. What are some tactile things that you could suggest to somebody who's just curious? Here we are, it's January. A lot of people are doing this dry January thing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
to me, that means you're curious about life without alcohol or health without alcohol. Like, what are some tactile things that help? Like, being around people who aren't drinking. I think that's a huge, huge guidance, right? Like,
hmm Um, for me in early sobriety, because I knew that my life had to change, but I didn't know that if I would make it more than a few months when I got sober. I didn't really believe that I was capable of that. Um, I filled my fridge with so many LaCroix. I walked home a different way. I drove home a different way, away from my usual route of driving by the liquor store, gas station, whatever. Um,
did somebody recommend that to you, or was that just something you kind of did intuitively? Because that's
I was like,
genius. You were firing different neurons in your brain.
right, because yeah, because I had been scared so bad by what happened to me, like the medical detox facility. I never wanted to go back there.
Mm.
Like that to me was absolutely terrifying. Um, And I got lucky. I will say this, that with the pandemic, it sucked for a lot of people, but it uprooted me and got me away from all the people that were trying to like bring me back into drinking with their slippery tendrils of cigarettes and all this other crap, dude. Like I had to, yeah, it was a tough existence there for a minute. Um, and as far as like tactile things, like I always recommend people if you are smoking and you quit drinking, like not a lot of people can do both. So like pick one, start with
Yeah.
one. Um, Alcohol is one of the few things that you can really die from quitting on your own. So if you are experiencing any sort of shaking, I'm not a doctor at all, but like if you're experiencing like withdrawal symptoms, like go seek professional help. Don't just try to do it on your own. You could really hurt yourself. Um, and and honestly, like when I got sober, I didn't know any sober people at all. Like I had one friend that drove me to medical detox, and he was kind of one foot in, one foot out anyway. But um, and that's why meetings were so important to me because I didn't know where the sober people were.
Right.
Like yeah. So I think those few things, and like I said, like a lot of people can January 1st, they wake up and they're like, yep, dry January. And then they can have a few drinks in February and a few drinks maybe on St. Patty's Day. And, maybe Memorial Day, they tie one off with their family. And, it's like, if that's the relationship you have, like my hat's off to you, you
Yeah.
know, but the majority of people, um, I won't make blanket statements, but alcoholics walk among us suffering in quiet places of the earth, like the person that you see at the gas station buying a handle of vodka at 11 o'clock in the morning, like is probably trying not to throw up, you know, like they're everywhere. There's a reason they sell airplane bottles at the cash register at gas stations. It's like for people like me, like it's sad.
I never really put that together, Maggie.
Yeah. Like the airplane bottles, like in the little buckets at gas stations or like at the checkout line at Safeway, they're for people like me because it's really easy to like take a shot of whatever and just throw it away before you get on the road. Like it's a scary, yeah, it's everywhere.
Mhm. Do you think that's changing at all? Sometimes I feel like that's changing, but then I hear about a kid, drinking and like that. I hate that it's normal that we're like, oh, well, kids will be kids, right?
Right.
Like,
I think it's inevitable for young people to want to experiment with all sorts of things. I think I'm pretty I'm relatively plugged into this younger generation of kids, like the almost Gen Alpha, like late Gen Z. Um, and I feel like this generation is very aware of themselves and making way better choices than we did. Um, I really do believe that there's more young people working out consistently. They've done that with studies that I've seen online. They're more obsessed with skincare and like hair care and overall wellness, whether it's just for vanity on Instagram, like it doesn't matter. Like at least they're
right.
doing something. Yeah, I mean,
And there's
it's
an
really
awareness that things like alcohol, I mean, your skin
and
shows
and a,
it.
yeah, and a lot of the young people like don't want to be broke. Like a lot of their parents are like struggling. Like elder millennials are the parents of Gen Alpha. Like my friends have kids that are in that generation. And like they're seeing us like not be able to buy houses and they're like, screw getting drunk. I want to make money. Like, you know,
It is expensive. And, that like the first year for me, really, I kind of had this like unspoken rule with myself. I guess it's not really unspoken. It was spoken in my brain though. Like I can drink whatever else I want as long as it's not alcohol, right? Like just open to whatever. Um, and it's interesting because, then it's like as I started kind of coming around to that, I was like, well, do I really want to be drinking root beer all the time? Like just because it's like sugary, you know? Are you
yeah,
still big
it
on your
definitely,
Diet Cokes?
the last time we talked, I was drinking Diet Coke like every day, 2 to 3 times a day. And I haven't, I mean, I'll drink it now and again, but I'm drinking a lot of water. Um, coffee and the occasional energy drink.
Yeah.
If I got a long day or something. But um, yeah, I had like a love affair with Diet Coke the last time we talked, huh? I talked about that. Yeah, I mean, last night we had our holiday party and I drank a bunch of Diet Coke because we were at like a bowling alley and some people were drinking, and then we went out to a bar and saw one of our coaches play in his band, and it was super fun. It was like we were in a, me and my sweetheart, like he's sober too, and he got his Diet Coke with lemon, and when I'm ever in a bar setting, I like getting club soda with a lime. It makes me feel cool. Even after all
Yeah.
these years, I still want to feel cool,
Totally.
Like anybody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
Well,
So
and I do think to your point, right? Like at some point, I feel like those of us that don't drink, we got to realize we're cool too.
even last night, Drew and I were laughing at the bowling alley, like just being ridiculous. He was doing something ridiculous and I was laughing really hard. And I out loud, I was like, I can't believe I ever thought I needed booze to have fun.
Oh,
And he just laughed and he agreed with me. He's like, yeah, isn't that crazy? Like, and I had gotten to that point with it that I didn't know who I was
mhm.
without it. When you get that far into addiction, you're not even in reality. You're not even there. Like I was like a zombie of myself.
Yeah, a shell.
A shell, absolutely. And when you get sober, like you're just kind of this fragile little, like I felt like I was made of porcelain when I got sober. And that if like something bad happened or something good happened, like I would just shatter because I didn't know how to handle any emotions at all. Um, so for me today to be able to navigate joy and navigate, like I'm finding out in therapy and stuff that like I'm especially sensitive to other people's anger.
Mm.
Um, Growing up in a sometimes volatile childhood home, my childhood overall was great, no complaints, just some moments of not the shiniest of moments, but anyway, yeah, kind of not being responsible for people's feelings and
Well,
having
an
to
incredible self-awareness.
oh, it's crazy. Yeah, like oh man. I'm like, oh yeah, you can be angry, but it's not, I didn't cause it, therefore I'm not responsible for it. Enjoy being angry, and I'll be over here when you're done.
Yeah. I think it's really interesting how there's a handful of us that I've interviewed and talked to, and it seems like there's almost this cycle of like quitting and quitting and quitting, right? So you give up alcohol, you give up nicotine, you've given up Diet Coke, right? I know you
Oh, yeah, that was like on accident too. Just like it was too expensive. It's like I got other shit I need to buy.
do you think there's something to that though? Of just like once you get that taste of freedom, like do you think that it makes it easier or more desirable to break those chains, the other chains?
I think, when I was drinking and partying and like I thought I was having so much fun. Like it was pretty fun until I was about like 23. And that's when it started to not be fun. Um, but I was so chronically afraid of being boring,
Mm.
right? Like boring people go to bed on time, like boring people don't drink, boring people work out all the time, and blah 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 blah. Like, and now it's like I have accepted that I am now the person that I hated or I did not want to become. Like I go to bed early, I wake up and I work out pretty often and I drink a lot of water and I don't drink alcohol, like, and as I get older, like I don't feel the need to go out and do things really. Like like I like to like we got tickets to go see a comedian in March for Drew's birthday. Like I surprised him with some tickets for that. And we went and saw this guy's band last night. Like there's times when I'm like, yeah, let's go out. But it was like 10:15. I was like, Drew, let's go home. I'm tired, like,
Yeah.
and embracing that quote unquote boringness, I think is what
Okay.
has saved me.
Why did you say quote unquote boringness? Because I don't think that's boring.
Right. But if you're like 19 years old, it sounds like the lamest thing ever. You know what I mean? Like for some people, like I'm just thinking about my younger self, how they would just be appalled by my lifestyle today. I tidy up every day. I make my bed every day. I shower every day. Like it's this like responsible adultness that I was supposed to get 10 years ago, but I was blacking out. So I'm just now doing it, right? Like I'm just now getting a grip on taking responsibility for who I am and how my actions affect others, and taking responsibility for my inner peace and my physical appearance and my spirituality, because my goal in this life is to be useful,
Mhm.
right? Like I want to be useful to other people. And I can't do that if I'm not taking care of myself. So
That does not sound boring at all.
I know, right?
Sounds
Yeah, it's great.
purposeful. That sounds
Yeah.
purposeful. Yeah. Well, and I want to challenge that because you're not the only person who would self-describe as boring. And it's this interpretation of like, we're not cool because we go to bed at a reasonable hour and get up and do things like go for run.
Hmm.
I mean, you coach kids too, right?
That I oversee the program. Yeah, I don't get I help them every once in a while,
Okay.
but we pay other people to do that because I like being the fun auntie for them.
You do have fun anti-vibe. And like it cracked me up the other day. You were describing all the mama mags.
Yeah.
That was crap. You're like, sometimes I'm anti-mama mags.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes I'm like auntie, sometimes I'm mama nags, and harping on you, and sometimes I'm mama mads, and she's only here about like 5 months, 5 days out of the month. So
Uh, um, I know you were excited to come on. What excites you to be on a podcast that people are listening to about this?
I think sharing our stories and being honest about what has held us back and how we're figuring it out is how people how they get shit done. In early sobriety, I had 74 days when the pandemic hit. And if anybody out there has been in their first 90 days of sobriety, it's a very touch and go time for some people, myself included. And, um, I looked into podcasts on Spotify, and I found a couple sobriety podcasts that I would just listen to anytime I wasn't working. I was just listening to people's stories.
Mm.
And like I was like, I just need to know how people are staying sober, right?
Yeah.
And just I need to hear stories that remind me why I'm doing it and that it's worth it to stay sober. Um, because whether you are a blackout drinker, a maintenance drinker, a binge drinker, whatever, even if you just don't want to drink and you don't have a problem with it, like life gets better without alcohol. As
Mm.
long as you're willing to change your life. Because if you don't want to quit drinking and you try to quit drinking, it's the worst experience.
That reminds me of one of my favorite quotes, and I don't know who said it, but I love it. What you're not changing, you're choosing.
Choosing. Yes.
Yeah. And
Yeah, dude. Like yeah.
oh, I was going to say, speaking of choices, so I don't know if you got to this part in the podcast, but we did quick fire on the wheel of life, right?
Yeah.
Well, we changed our model for the Wheel of Life, and it's now an acronym that says choices.
Oh, cool. I like that.
So, if you're open to it, I would love to ask you how Undrunken has affected your choices in your Wheel of Life.
Let's do it. That's awesome.
So, how has Undrunken affected your circle? And circle replaces friends.
Quality over quantity.
How has it affected home, which replaces family? So we think more of like your household, right? Like the home you grew up in, the home you're in currently.
Oh man. I think for that one, just creating like a semblance of like peace, I guess. Um, in my home now, the one I'm like working on building is be willing to have hard conversations. I think that's incredibly overlooked.
How has it affected occupation or work?
Oh my God, I like run a gym. I like I like run a gym, dude. I have keys to two locations. Like I can't I just I've never wanted to work as much as I do now. And that's
Hmm.
come with a lot of improvements from myself and with my boss as well.
What about your identity, yourself?
Ooh, that one is I would say there's a softness to me now
Hmm.
that I didn't think was possible. So more feminine, you could say.
What about companionship, your love life? You've talked about your sweetheart, and that's who we share our most personal relationship with.
You know, Drew and I embarked on couples therapy, which I fully recommend. Um, and again, I think the level of trust I have with this person is like insane.
Hmm.
And being sober, it helps so much that we don't have to worry about the other person, like going to the bar, making shitty choices. When are you coming home? When will you be back? Never conversations we have to have. It is, we know exactly where the other person is and what they're doing and what their plan is, and we're very reliable. Like sometimes very like we forget shit, but it's that dependability and being vulnerable with that person it is scary. It can be scary, but the payoff is astronomical
Hmm.
when you don't just run away and you invest that time and energy into that person, and you know they got to want the same things you want at the end of the day.
How about your estate, like money, life planning?
When I quit drinking, I just thought I'd magically have more money. Oh, I did for a while. Um, it's much easier to dream about the future sober. I had a lot of never-ending stories when I was drinking. I'd go to the bar, talk about the shoulda, woulda, couldas, this person, that person, living in this loop um, that I felt like I couldn't get out of. I never actually, like, I talked about recording music for 9 years.
Yeah, you were
Um,
even on American Idol, weren't you?
yeah, I went and I was drunk when I applied for it, and I went and auditioned, and you couldn't, like, I woke up that morning and it was like October of 2019. And I woke up that morning and it dawned on me that I was in critical condition at this time. Like I could not go more than 4 hours without drinking.
Mhm.
Um, I'd wake up in the middle of the night and drink, so I didn't get withdrawal symptoms. So when I went to audition for that, I was going through withdrawals in front of Katy Perry, Luke Bryan, and Lionel Richie. I was literally going through withdrawals in front of these people. Um, totally botched the song, totally fucked it up. And that sent me into a spiral for sure.
Have you
um
thought about going back?
American Idol, you can't, because I'm too old now. You have to be like younger than 28 to do it, 28 or younger. But I've thought about doing The Voice. um but yeah, we recorded music in October of 23. We now have 4 songs up. Wait, three out on Spotify, Mama Mag's band,
Yeah.
on all streaming services. um But when I was in that studio, I was like, we were walking in it was Robert Lang's studio down in Shoreline. And if anybody's unfamiliar with Robert Lang, um, his studio was excavated and built into the side of a hill in Shoreline, right on the water, right near the water. And he's recorded the Foo Fighters. Heart has recorded there numerous times. Like, it's been this space that has this energy that is just so special. And as soon as I set foot in there, I just started sobbing, because I had wanted to do something like this since I was like 15 years old. And here I was at like 31, 16 years later, like finally doing something with it. And I think those times when you can actually fulfill the promise that you kept to yourself are like some of the most special moments.
Mhm.
Whether it's like, I promise that or to other people or whatever, but mostly to yourself. Like, that's how we build self-esteem, right? It's like, if I am gonna go do this. I am gonna be this person. I am gonna go run that freaking half marathon in the blazing hot sun in the beginning of August. And I'm gonna do it in under 3 hours, right? Like, and I did. It's like those types of moments that you have with yourself are super special. Um, and that was definitely one of the top three for sure. But
What about spirituality? You mentioned it a little bit earlier.
yeah, we were at this bar talking. I was talking to a couple that I know very well. Um, the wife, she coaches for us and she helps me at the gym. And I was like sharing this like war story. We were all drinking like soda, hanging out, and I was sharing this like war story of like what I went to a music festival and like going over like all this crazy stuff that I did. I don't need to repeat it, but um, and the guy goes, he's like, was there ever a time where you thought you were gonna die, or that you should have died? And I was like, that's the main reason I believe in God, is that I am alive. And he just kind of like looked at me sideways. I was like, yeah, dude, like, I shouldn't be here. I should be in prison. I should be dead. I should be in a ditch somewhere. I should be in the ground. But I'm not, so I don't want to fuck it up. you know? Um, I think spirituality for me, is that I am in charge of the choices I make, but the outcome has a lot to do with spirituality to me. It's like, if I just keep doing the right thing, and we all know what the right thing is. Like, when people are like, I don't know, I'm like, like, what the right thing is. go do the right thing. You'll sleep better at night. You'll do better at work. You'll wake up and go to the gym because you'll be doing the right thing, right? Like the more you do the right thing, follow your conscience, follow your gut. Like I feel like your gut is like spirituality trying to talk to you. Like,
It's
don't go do
actually
that.
it's actually a second brain. There's like
Really?
neurons in it.
What?
I'll send you this
Oh,
study that
dude, yeah, I want to go down that rabbit hole. That sounds awesome.
yeah. Sorry, I interrupted you. I'm so
No, no,
sorry.
no. No,
Yeah.
that's it's true, right? And I feel like a lot of like I'll speak for myself. In the past I have confused religion and spirituality.
Mm-hmm.
I can feel spiritual when I go for walks. I can feel spiritual when the beat drops and I'm on my eighth mile on my long run on the weekend and I'm exhausted, but like the song just hits the right way and I hit the runner's high finally. Like that to me is spirituality because it's not something that I guess I'm like helping create it by running, but it's that like inexplicable joy. Like to me is the spirituality. When I'm like laughing so hard I could cry, I'm like, how is this possible? Like how is this? But yeah, I think if people listening to this are struggling with spirituality, or maybe you're new to you stumbled upon this podcast and maybe you are trying to go to meetings and you hear a lot of things talking about like spirituality and it's confusing, like um my biggest recommendation is to keep it simple. Like I don't get on my knees and pray to Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior, some guy in a robe, right? Like I literally lay in bed and I look up at the ceiling and go, "Hey, show me what I need to do today." And then I go do it. Like um it doesn't have to be difficult. It doesn't have to be complicated. Like we already made our lives complicated by drinking. Like let's dial back the chaos a little bit and just let yourself be easy, right?
Like that. Just kiss it. Keep it sweet and simple.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm. Maggie, this is your moment to say anything and everything you want to say. Anything? We said a lot.
Um, you know, for my ladies out there and the fellas, I would recommend going if you've been sober for a little bit. I found out last year that I had low thyroid and my body was not making enough progesterone. It's something I'm really open about. I don't care if people know about the hormones in my body. Like I was suffering from mood disorders because my hormones were incredibly unbalanced. And I would recommend to anybody listening to go get that shit checked out, especially if you're over the age of 30. Um, that's just a little sidebar. Um, because it totally changed my life. I owe a lot of the groundedness to that. Um, I can't really give much advice. Just, I knew that I had a problem with alcohol since I was 19, and I didn't get sober for almost 10 years later. Like I knew that I drank differently from other people, and if there's any inkling in your mind that you might have a problem with something, whether it's food, gambling, sex, anything, there are countless resources out there to help people. Whether it's listening to this or you have like a family member that's in a program somewhere, that's pretty common. Um, or you're in a situation where you're in surrounding yourself with people that aren't helping you make good choices. There are countless resources to help you get out of those situations and to use Google and get creative. Um, but I honestly, like, I didn't know that I would make it more than 5 weeks, much less 5 years. So if
Mm.
you're in that like 1 year mark and you think, oh, maybe I could just go have like one drink on whatever, my birthday or whatever, like, don't pour booze on a gasoline fire.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, write in a journal or something.
Right. Find an outlet.
Exactly. Yeah. I
Yeah.
always recommend martial arts to anybody. I got into martial arts when I was 29 and completely changed my life.
How much do you think that helped with your sobriety?
Well, I've been
Because that
training at
was
that gym. Say one more time.
because that was pretty. The timing seemed.
Yeah, I was 9 months sober when I joined this gym, and I have been with them ever since. And there's been maybe like 2 month breaks here and there because I do work there as well. And finding that work-life balance, training balance, it changes over time, but do something to move your body. Like, it's going to help exponentially. And martial arts specifically for me, like, I'm a weirdo. I'm a masochist. I like getting hit by other people. I'm a weirdo. I don't even try to hide it. Um, and it fulfills
We're
something for
just
me,
talking about
I
this.
guess. Yeah. So, yeah, I like to lift heavy weight and, kick and punch and
Yeah.
go do what makes sense for you. Whether it's like tennis or Pilates or walking or distance running, sprinting, it doesn't matter. Like, go try stuff, get your body moving. That's one of the biggest things that helped me for sure.
I've heard that from a
Yeah.
lot of people that have been on. Yeah. All right. It's your plug time. You a little bit kind of dropped about your band being on Spotify, but go ahead, plug all the things.
All right. We'll see here. We have Mama Mag's band. Mama is spelled M-A-M-A, by the way. M-A-M-A-M-A-G-S band. You can find us on all streaming platforms. We just upgraded our practice space, so we're going to get back into practicing and work on writing new stuff for everyone. We are christening the practice space this month, so that's exciting. And other than
Congratulations.
that, I might be playing some shows in the downtown Snohomish area this summer. So if you're around, just keep an eye out. You can add me on Facebook under my name that will pop up on here. Um, and other than that, life is pretty chill today. That's about all I got.
Wow. Thank you so, so much.
Yeah, thank you, Nene. This is really good. I got out of a hot bath and hopped on this, and so it was just nice and relaxing.
Yeah. Beautiful. Well, I will see you in the gym.
All right, yeah, let's go kick and punch some shit.
Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. If this episode speaks to you, please share it with someone you think might like it. And tag me on Instagram @UndrunkenPodcast so I can cheer you on. If you've got a story to tell or just want to connect, my DMs are always open. I'm so glad you're here, and I'll leave you with this. Make good choices, take care of yourself, and keep showing up. I'll see you next time.